My name is Ryan Mitchell, I'm 34 years old, and I've spent most of my life being the second choice in my own family. It took one Christmas morning to finally see it clearly. When my mom told me in December they couldn't afford gifts for my kids, I believed her. When I showed up Christmas morning and watched my brother's kids open iPads and designer shoes while mine got coloring books, I understood the lie. And when my dad laughed and said, "Times are hard, you understand," I finally stopped pretending it was all in my head. The screenshot I posted the next morning made my dad's boss call him before 8 a.m. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This story starts 20 years earlier, when my older brother Derek and I were kids growing up in Sacramento. Our parents weren't rich, but they were comfortable. Dad worked in management at a tech company, Mom was a part-time accountant. Middle class, stable, normal. Derek was 3 years older than me, and from the beginning, he was the golden child. Athletic, charismatic, popular. Quarterback of the football team, homecoming king, had colleges recruiting him junior year. I was the quiet kid who liked books and science fairs. Not unpopular, just unremarkable. The difference in how my parents treated us was subtle at first. Derek got the bigger bedroom. Got the new Xbox while I got his old one. Got the car on his 16th birthday while I had to wait until I could buy my own. Small things I convinced myself didn't matter. Derek needs the bigger room, he's older. Derek needs the car for football practice. You're more responsible, you'll appreciate earning your own car. College was where it became impossible to ignore. Derek got a full ride to his state school. Tuition, room, board, books, plus a monthly allowance for expenses. My parents paid for everything and he graduated debt-free. I got into a decent state school 2 hours away. My parents said they'd help where they could. That turned out to be about $5,000 a year. The rest was on me. Scholarships, 3 part-time jobs, and $40,000 in student loans. When I asked why Derek got full support and I didn't, Dad said, "We're in a different financial position now. You understand." I understood. I wasn't the priority. Derek graduated with a business degree and immediately got a job at Dad's company. Started at $50,000 a year, which Dad helped arrange. Within 5 years he was making 6 figures as a sales director. I graduated with a degree in education and became a high school biology teacher. Started at $38,000 a year. I loved teaching, loved working with kids, but the pay was rough. Still had those student loans. Still drove that 12-year-old Honda I bought in college. When Derek bought his first house at 26, my parents threw him a housewarming party and gave him $10,000 for furniture. I watched Dad hand him the check at the party, watched Derek hug them and thank them for always believing in him. When I bought my small 3-bedroom house with my wife Emma at 31, my parents came to the housewarming and brought a potted plant. We'd scraped together the down payment ourselves, penny by penny, sacrifice by sacrifice. No check. No party. Just, "Congrats on the house, it's cozy." Emma noticed it before I fully admitted it to myself. She'd grown up in a big, chaotic, loving family where everyone was treated equally. The favoritism in my family was obvious to her from the start. "Your parents gave Derek $10,000 for furniture?" she said after his housewarming party. "They wanted to help him get settled. Ryan, we're eating ramen 3 times a week to make our mortgage payment, and they gave him $10,000. We're fine. We don't need help." That's not the point. But I didn't want to see the point. Didn't want to admit that my parents valued my brother more than me. That I'd spent my whole life competing for attention I was never going to get. When Derek and his wife Jen had their first kid, Mason, my parents bought them an entire nursery. Showed up with a truck full of furniture. Top-of-the-line crib, changing table, rocker, dresser, everything. Probably $3,000 worth of stuff. "We're just so excited to be grandparents," Mom gushed. 2 years later, Emma and I had Sophie. My parents brought over a box of hand-me-down baby clothes and a used high chair they'd found at a garage sale. "Babies grow so fast, no point buying new," Mom said. When we had our second kid, Jake, 3 years after that, we got more hand-me-downs. By then, Derek and Jen had 2 kids, a bigger house, 2 new cars, annual vacations to Hawaii. My parents helped with all of it. Down payment assistance, babysitting money, loans that never got paid back. Emma and I were still in our starter home, still driving old cars, still watching every dollar. I was making $45,000 as a teacher with 8 years' experience. Emma was a dental hygienist, making about the same. We were managing, but barely. Every birthday, every holiday, every milestone, the difference was obvious. Derek's kids got big parties with bounce houses and catered food. My kids got cake at our house with a few friends. Mason's birthday presents from my parents: a bike, a gaming system, expensive Legos, about $500 worth of gifts. Sophie's birthday presents from my parents: a board game and a stuffed animal. Maybe $75. When I mentioned it once, carefully, to my mom, she said, "Well, Derek and Jen have higher standards. They're used to nice things. We didn't want Mason to feel like his gifts weren't special. As if my kids didn't deserve to feel special." Every excuse had a reason that almost made sense. Taken individually, each incident could be explained away. But together, over 20 years, the pattern was undeniable. I stopped talking to Emma about it because it hurt to admit. Stopped comparing because it made me bitter. Just accepted that this was how it was and tried to focus on what we had instead of what we didn't. Then came December 2024. Emma's dental office cut her hours in November. Insurance reimbursements were down, they had to trim staff expenses. She went from full-time to 30 hours a week. We lost about $800 a month in income. It was tight. Really tight. We'd been saving for Christmas, but that savings had to go to covering the gap in bills. We adjusted. Made a budget. Decided we'd do smaller Christmas presents for the kids this year. More meaningful, less expensive. Then my mom called on December 5th. "Ryan, honey, I need to talk to you about Christmas gifts this year." "Sure, what's up?" "Well, I'll just be honest. Money's been really tight. Dad's company did some restructuring and his bonus was significantly smaller this year. We're not going to be able to do big gifts for the grandkids like we usually do." Usually. As if she'd ever done big gifts for my kids. "That's totally fine, Mom. Sophie and Jake will understand. They're just excited to see everyone." "Oh, I'm so relieved you're being reasonable about this. You know how some families get so demanding about gifts. I was worried you'd be upset." "Not at all. We're keeping it simple this year, too. You're such a good son. This is why I can always count on you to understand." I hung up feeling okay about it. Told Emma that night. "They're not doing gifts this year," I said. "Money's tight for them." Emma raised an eyebrow. "For them? Your dad makes over $200,000 a year. His bonus was smaller. Ryan, his bonus is probably more than your entire salary. It's fine. We're keeping it small anyway." But Emma had that look. The one that said she knew something I didn't want to admit. We adjusted our expectations. Told Sophie and Jake that Christmas would be more about family time this year, less about presents. Sophie, who was 7 and wise beyond her years, said that was fine. Jake, who was 5, was disappointed but didn't complain. We still bought gifts for everyone because that's what you do. Spent about $200 total, which stretched our budget, but it was Christmas. Got my parents a nice framed photo of the kids. Got Derek's family a board game we thought they'd like. Got Mason and Lily each a book. Christmas morning, December 25th, we drove to my parents' house in Folsom. It was cold, overcast, looked like it might rain. The kids were excited, wearing the nice outfits Emma had found on clearance at Target. Sophie had spent an hour making handmade Christmas cards for everyone. We pulled up to my parents' house at 10 a.m. Derek's BMW was already in the driveway. We walked in with our small bag of gifts, Sophie and Jake running ahead excited to see their grandparents. And I saw the living room. The tree was absolutely buried in presents. Professionally wrapped boxes with elaborate bows. Expensive wrapping paper. Gift bags from high-end stores. I saw iPad boxes. Nintendo Switch boxes. Designer shopping bags. North Face bags. At least 20, maybe 30 presents piled under and around the tree. In the very back corner, partially hidden, were 2 small gifts wrapped in plain paper. I could see Sophie's and Jake's names on them. Emma stopped next to me in the doorway. Her hand found mine and squeezed so tight it hurt. "Oh good, you're here!" My mom rushed over to hug us. "Merry Christmas!" "We're running a bit behind, was up until midnight wrapping all the kids' presents." Come in, come in!" Sophie and Jake were already staring at the mountain of presents. "Wow," Jake whispered. "That's a lot of presents. Santa must have been really busy," Sophie said quietly. My dad came in from the kitchen with coffee. "Merry Christmas, everyone! Big year for the grandkids, huh?" Derek and Jen were on the couch, looking pleased. I couldn't speak. Just stood there holding Emma's hand, looking at thousands of dollars worth of presents my parents claimed they couldn't afford this year. We sat down for breakfast first. My mom had made her usual Christmas spread: cinnamon rolls, egg casserole, fruit salad, bacon. But the whole time she kept talking about how expensive everything was. "Bacon is $7 a pound now, can you believe it? I almost didn't buy it. And these cinnamon rolls, the ingredients alone cost me $20. I looked at the mountain of presents under the tree. Easily $3,000 worth of gifts. But she was complaining about $20 cinnamon rolls. Sophie ate quietly, sneaking glances at the presents. Jake kept asking if it was time to open them yet. "After breakfast, buddy," Derek said, ruffling Jake's hair. Patience. Easy for him to say. His kids were about to open half a toy store. Finally, breakfast was done. Everyone moved to the living room. Mason and Lily practically vibrated with excitement. "Okay, youngest first," my mom announced. "Lily, you start, sweetie." Lily was 6, a year older than Jake. She grabbed the first present with her name on it. iPad with a keyboard case and Apple Pencil. I knew exactly how much that cost because Emma and I had looked at them for Sophie's birthday. We couldn't afford it. $650 minimum. "Oh wow, Grandma, Grandpa, thank you so much," Jen gushed. "She's been wanting one for school." Lily was in first grade. She did not need an iPad for school. Next present. North Face winter jacket. $200. Next. Designer sneakers, Nike. At least $150. Next. American Girl doll with accessories. $200. It kept going. Art supplies, books, clothes, toys. Each gift more expensive than anything my kids owned. Mason went next. 8 years old, and he knew exactly what he was getting because he kept saying, "Yes," every time he grabbed a box. PlayStation 5 with 3 games. At least $600. Another North Face jacket. More designer shoes, 2 pairs. A drone. $300 easy. Lego sets, the big expensive ones. Sports equipment. A smartwatch. I watched Emma's face. She wasn't even trying to smile anymore. Just sitting there, holding my hand, watching this obscene display of favoritism. Sophie and Jake sat on the couch, perfectly still. Sophie had that look she got when she was trying very hard not to cry. Jake was mesmerized by Mason's PlayStation box. After 20 minutes of Mason and Lily opening presents, my mom finally said, "Okay, Sophie and Jake's turn." There were 2 presents with their names. That was it. 2 total presents for both kids combined. Sophie went first. She picked up her gift carefully, like it might break. Unwrapped it slowly. A coloring book. Disney princesses. Maybe $8 at Target. "Thank you, Grandma," Sophie said quietly. "It's really pretty." Jake opened his. A pack of crayons. The big 64-count box. $10. "Cool," Jake said, trying to sound excited. "I can use these with Sophie's coloring book." That was it. That was all my kids got from grandparents who couldn't afford gifts this year. $18 total. While Mason and Lily had just opened at least $3,000 worth of presents. The room went quiet for a second. I think even Derek felt uncomfortable. Then my mom clapped her hands. "Wonderful! Now let's do gifts from each other." We handed out our presents. The framed photo of Sophie and Jake to my parents. The board game to Derek's family. The books to Mason and Lily. "Oh, how sweet," my mom said, looking at the photo for exactly 3 seconds before setting it aside. Mason opened his book, barely glanced at it, and immediately went back to his PlayStation box. Can I set this up, Dad? After we open everything else, Derek said. Jen handed us a gift bag. Inside were Starbucks gift cards. $25 each for Emma and me. We figured you could use a coffee run, Jen said, smiling. Being teachers and all, you probably need the caffeine. Emma was a dental hygienist, not a teacher, but Jen had never bothered to remember that. Thanks, Emma said flatly. Then my dad came over and sat next to me on the arm of the couch. Put his hand on my shoulder. That friendly, condescending gesture I'd been getting my whole life. Pretty good haul for the kids this year, huh? He said, gesturing at Mason and Lily's pile. Yeah. I managed. Derek and Jen really know how to spoil them. Good parents, doing well in life. He squeezed my shoulder. Times are tough though, aren't they? Sorry we couldn't do more for your kids this year. But you understand. Economy's rough. Inflation. Everyone's feeling it. He patted my shoulder again and walked away to pour himself more coffee. I sat there, his words ringing in my ears. You understand. I understood. I understood that my parents had thousands of dollars for Derek's kids and coloring books for mine. I understood that. Times are tough. Was a lie they told me so they didn't have to admit they just didn't value my family the same way. I understood perfectly. Emma stood up suddenly. I need to use the restroom. She left quickly. I knew she was going to cry. Sophie was showing Jake the coloring book, trying to make it seem exciting. Look, there's Elsa. And Moana. We can color them together when we get home. Jake was still staring at Mason's PlayStation. That's so cool. Maybe we can play it together? Mason overheard. I don't really like sharing my stuff. My dad says I don't have to if I don't want to. Mason, Derek said half-heartedly, but he was smiling. Proud of his son for setting boundaries. I looked at my parents, both smiling and happy, enjoying their Christmas morning. Looked at Derek and Jen, pleased with their kids' haul. Looked at Mason and Lily, surrounded by more toys than they could play with in a year. Then looked at Sophie and Jake, trying so hard to be grateful for coloring books while watching their cousins open gifts worth more than our monthly mortgage payment. And something in me snapped. I stood up. We need to go. Everyone looked at me. What? My mom seemed genuinely confused. Already? We haven't even had lunch yet. I made a ham. Emma's not feeling well. We should head home. It was 11:30. We'd been there an hour and a half. Oh no, is she okay? Mom didn't sound particularly concerned. She'll be fine. We just need to go. Emma came out of the bathroom, eyes red. When she saw me standing with the kids' coats, she nodded and grabbed her purse. Thanks for having us, I said to the room in general. Didn't look at anyone specifically. Well, Merry Christmas, my dad said, already turning back to his coffee. Drive safe. Sophie and Jake looked confused but put their coats on without complaining. Sophie clutched her coloring book. Jake held his crayons. Bye, Mason. Bye, Lily. Jake called out. They barely looked up from their new toys. We walked out to our old Honda in silence. Got everyone buckled in. Started the car. Nobody spoke for the first 5 minutes of the drive. Then Jake said, his voice small, "Why didn't Grandma and Grandpa get us presents like Mason and Lily?" Emma started crying. Just broke down right there in the passenger seat. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I don't know, buddy. Did we do something bad? Are they mad at us? No, Jake. You didn't do anything wrong. Then why? I don't know, I said too loudly. Took a breath. I'm sorry. I don't know why. Sophie, always trying to fix things, said quietly. It's okay, Daddy. I really do like the coloring book. And we got nice presents from you and Mommy. That's what matters. That somehow made it worse. We drove home. Pulled into our driveway. Sat in the car for a minute. I'm sorry, I said to Emma. I should have seen this coming. It's not your fault, she said, wiping her eyes. Your parents are the ones who should be sorry. They won't be. They don't even see it. Then maybe they need to. We went inside. Spent the rest of Christmas Day trying to make it special for the kids. Made hot chocolate. Watched Christmas movies. Played with the gifts we'd gotten them, the ones we'd carefully chosen and wrapped. Sophie had gotten a science kit because she loved experiments. Jake had gotten a dinosaur excavation set because he was obsessed with paleontology. Not expensive gifts, maybe $40 each, but thoughtful. Personal. They were happy with them. Really happy. But I couldn't stop seeing their faces in my parents' living room. That night, after we put the kids to bed, Emma and I sat on the couch in silence. I can't do this anymore, I said finally. Do what? Pretend it doesn't hurt. Pretend it's okay. Pretend like my parents treating us like second-class family members is just how things are. What are you going to do? I don't know. But something. I pulled out my phone. Opened the family group chat. The one with my parents, Derek, Jen, Emma, and me. It had been quiet all evening. At 9 p.m., Jen posted a photo. Mason and Lily with their mountain of presents, grinning. Caption. Spoiled by the best grandparents ever. Thank you, Mom and Dad. My mom commented. Anything for our precious grandkids. I stared at that message. Our precious grandkids. As if Sophie and Jake didn't exist. I started typing a response. Deleted it. Started again. Deleted it. Emma watched me. What are you thinking? Something I should have done years ago. I opened my photos. Found the picture I'd taken that morning when we first walked into my parents' living room. The one showing the mountain of presents under the tree, before anyone had opened anything. You could see the iPad boxes, the designer bags, everything. Then I scrolled to another photo. The one Emma had taken of Sophie and Jake sitting on the couch, holding their coloring book and crayons, with Mason's pile of opened gifts visible in the background. The contrast was devastating. I uploaded both photos and typed. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for explaining that times are tough and you couldn't afford Christmas gifts this year. The kids understand. We all understand perfectly now. My finger hovered over send. Are you sure? Emma asked. I've never been more sure of anything. I hit send. The responses came fast. Derek, 2 minutes later. What the hell, Ryan? My mom. Ryan, this is inappropriate. Delete this right now. My dad. Call me. Now. I didn't delete it. Didn't call. Just muted the group chat and put my phone face down. Emma looked at me. How do you feel? Terrified. And relieved. My phone started ringing. Dad. I declined. He called again. Declined. Text from Derek. You're making a scene over Christmas presents? Grow up. Text from Mom. I'm very disappointed. This is embarrassing. I turned off my phone and went to bed. The next morning, December 26th, Emma woke me up. Ryan. Your phone's been going crazy. I turned it on. 47 missed calls. 63 texts. But there was something else. A text from Dad's office. Ryan, this is Brenda from your dad's office. His boss, Mr. Peterson, wants to speak with him urgently about a social media post. Do you know anything about this? Emma handed me her phone. My post from the family chat had been screenshot and posted publicly. Going viral in local Sacramento parent groups. Thousands of shares. How did this get out? She showed me. Someone named Michelle Torres from Dad's company HR had shared it publicly with the caption. This is the kind of family values our senior management has? Treating grandchildren differently based on favoritism? Disgusting. My dad worked for a tech company that prided itself on equality and progressive values. And now there was viral proof of his blatant favoritism. My phone rang. Derek. Do you have any idea what you've done? Dad's boss called him at 7 a.m. Someone from his company shared your post everywhere. They're investigating whether his personal values align with company culture. He could lose his job. Over a Facebook post? Over showing he's biased. The company just did a diversity push. They can't have senior management exposed for favoritism. Maybe he shouldn't have shown favoritism then. It was Christmas presents, Ryan. You're destroying his career. It's been 20 years of treating your family better than mine. I'm done pretending it's okay. You're being selfish. And what about my kid's self-worth? Does that matter? Derek hung up. Mom called next. How could you do this? Your father might lose his job. Our retirement. Because you couldn't be grateful. Grateful? You gave my kids coloring books while Derek's kids got thousands in gifts. After saying you couldn't afford presents. We couldn't afford big gifts for everyone. But you could afford them for Derek's kids. Just not mine. Derek and Jen are used to a certain lifestyle. We didn't want to disappoint them. But disappointing Sophie and Jake was fine? Your kids are younger. They don't understand value yet. Sophie is 7. Mason is 8. They're 1 year apart. Silence. If your father loses his job, I will never forgive you. If you can't see what you did wrong, I don't need your forgiveness. I hung up. The morning was chaos. Messages from relatives demanding I delete the post and apologize. But there were other messages too. From people I didn't expect. Emma's sister. Good for you. About time. My college roommate. I always thought something was off with how they treated you. And from strangers who'd seen the viral post. Thank you for speaking up. This happened in my family too. At 2 p.m. my dad got through. Are you happy now? His voice was cold. I've been suspended pending investigation. My reputation is destroyed. Dad? No. You humiliated us because you're jealous of Derek's success. Because you can't handle that he's done better in life. This has nothing to do with Derek. Everything with you is about Derek. You've always been jealous. But you made your choices. You chose to be a teacher. You chose a low-paying career. Those are your consequences. I chose to be a teacher because I wanted to help people. What I can't afford is $3,000 in Christmas presents because I don't make $200,000 a year like you. I worked hard for my success. And I didn't? I work 60-hour weeks for $45,000 a year. But that doesn't count as real work to you. Teaching is fine. But don't expect the same lifestyle as someone who made better career choices. Better career choices. So my kids deserve less because I became a teacher. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. You showed it every Christmas, every birthday for 10 years. We love all our grandchildren equally. Then why did Mason and Lily get iPads while Sophie and Jake got coloring books? Because Derek and Jen told us what their kids wanted. You never tell us. I shouldn't have to. You should care enough to ask. Silence. Dad, I'm not jealous. I'm hurt you've never valued what I do. I'm hurt you've never treated my kids the same. I'm done pretending it's okay. So you're cutting us off? Over this? I'm setting boundaries. Something I should have done 20 years ago. I hung up. Emma hugged me. That was really hard. Yeah. I'm proud of you. That night, Sophie asked, are Grandma and Grandpa mad at us? No, sweetie. They're not mad at you. Then why haven't they called? Grandma and Grandpa made some mistakes. And Daddy is helping them understand why those mistakes hurt us. Will they say sorry? I don't know. She nodded and went back to her coloring book, sharing crayons with Jake, making the best of what they had. That's what kids do. They adapt. But they shouldn't have to adapt to being treated as less than. Not by their own family. 3 days later, December 29th, my dad was fired. Not suspended. Fired. The investigation uncovered complaints from employees dating back years. Favoritism in promotions, unequal treatment, biased decisions. My Christmas post hadn't destroyed his career. It exposed what was already there. Derek called, furious. Dad's career is over. Mom's devastated. All because you couldn't keep family business private. I didn't make those employees file complaints. He did that himself. You started this. No. I ended my silence about it. He hung up. We haven't spoken since. My parents didn't contact me. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just silence. But others reached out. My Aunt Lisa. I watched your dad treat you differently your whole life and never said anything. That was wrong. A cousin. Your posts made me realize my parents do the same thing. Thank you, parents from my school. Your kids deserve better. The support was unexpected. January brought changes. Emma's hours increased back to full time. Sophie and Jake stopped asking about their grandparents. Kids are resilient. In February, an email from my mom. Your father and I have been in therapy. We're working on understanding what we did wrong. No pressure to respond. I didn't respond. They needed to do the work first. March brought another email. Longer this time. Ryan, I've been reflecting on how we treated your family. Our therapist helped me see patterns I was blind to. We showed Derek preferential treatment because he reminded us of success we wanted, while your choice to teach made us uncomfortable. That was wrong. We hurt you and Emma and the kids. I'm sorry. It was from my mom. Not my dad. Just my mom. Emma said. It's a start. But words are easy. Actions matter. In April, my mom asked to meet for coffee. Just her. We met at Starbucks. She looked tired. I see it now. All of it. How we made your kids feel less important. That's unforgivable. You're right. Can we come back from this? That depends on whether you actually change. What would change look like? Equal treatment. Real interest in my kids' lives. Respect for my career. And you need to make this right with Sophie and Jake, not just me. We talked for an hour. Not comfortable, but honest. In May, both parents asked to see the kids. I talked to Sophie and Jake first. Grandma and Grandpa want to visit. How do you feel? Sophie thought carefully. Will they be nice to us? I think so. They say they're sorry. Okay. We can try. They came for a barbecue. Brought appropriate gifts. Books Sophie wanted. A dinosaur kit Jake mentioned. Not expensive, just thoughtful. They asked about school. Listened. Didn't compare them to Mason and Lily once. When they left, my dad hugged me. I was wrong. About everything. I'm sorry. It wasn't fixed. Years of damage don't heal in one afternoon. But it was something. Derek never apologized. His family doesn't talk to us. My parents see both families separately now. I don't know if that will change. But my kids don't feel less than anymore. They know their worth isn't determined by gifts or money. They know they're loved for who they are. Emma and I are still teachers, still making modest salaries, still driving old cars. But we're proud of the life we built. And that's worth more than any iPad. Sometimes people ask if I regret posting those photos. If destroying my dad's career was worth it. I didn't destroy his career. His behavior did. My post just made it visible. But more importantly, I saved something more valuable, my kids' sense of self-worth. And I'd make that choice again every time. The coloring book Sophie got for Christmas? She finished it in March. Kept every page. She said they were precious because they reminded her that love matters more than stuff. 7 years old and already wiser than my parents had been in 60 years. That's what happens when you teach kids their value comes from who they are, not what they have. They grow up understanding what really matters. And that's the best gift I could ever give them.